Okay, New York session and Asia session done. I'll quickly go over what I took in New York. I took a loss in New York yesterday. It was a signal day for me, taking it down, trying to retracement signal. Um, I wanted to take, originally I was looking for a sell below the breakout level. Um, and that was the original plan. Kept pushing up, saw it was creating a high of the week. Uh, yeah, so once price created a high of the week, we were in a breakout week. I had the idea of taking it down because we had strong bearish pressure down. Right now, it's obviously bullish, but yesterday, a lot of them were pointing down. So once we made a high of the week, I took a aggressive entry on the 1 minute. I've said before, in New York, I tend to trade aggressively. So I ended up taking this entry, which is a fake out of the previous M15, and I was trying to take it down for a continuation, um, all the way, to continue the move down. So that was the idea. Price got stuck at previous day high. That should have been the signal for me to exit, but sometimes I get, I've said before, in the fake out retracement cycle, I tend to be a bit more aggressive, a bit more greedy, and so in this case, it got me. So took one stop loss here. Um, Yesterday there was news of the federal interest rates, um, and so I knew that price would probably just stall. So all the other pairs kind of stalled. This one kept going up. This actually ended up being a good breakout setup, but I wasn't able to change my buys quick enough. So yeah, took one loss there. The breakout was here. This is the false breakout. So this turns into a peak formation, and so I was. It triggered the previous H8 high, um, and when it does that, right, broke out, went back above the breakout level. That's a false breakout. Triggered the previous high. So this was a fake out retracement leg. Yeah, so that's what it is. Still thought it was a good idea to go down. Got in a bit greedy, a bit early. I mean, a bit too aggressive. But in New York, that's how I like to trade. I was still above the previous day high. Um, Once I definitely saw this happening, and I thought, okay, maybe I should exit, but did not exit and took the L on that one. But it's all right. Had a good week, had a good day. Yeah, and we just move on. So that was the only trade I took New York. After that, nothing I saw, and that was it. So today, um, first thing, I looked through all my Asia pairs, go through the uh, my watch list. Lots of trend signal days, and what a trend signal day is, basically, what we're looking for is we look at the last weekly breakout levels, monthly and daily breakout levels. That's the last breakout bar, and we plot them on each chart. And so we're looking for a breakout day that goes in the direction of the majority of these. So the idea is that we have a strong push to one side and we get in on the retracement. So on a trend signal day, I'm looking for a trend retracement setup, which is a 3-star setup for me. There's a bunch of rules here. Previous day can't be has to be untriggered, below the day breakout level, TP at the previous day low. So I had a bunch of those. There was a couple more. This pink one is discretionary. I tend to not want to take those. So yep, yep. So once I have all that, I put them all in one chart and I decide which one to take. So 7 a.m. is the Tokyo Market Open here in Jakarta. That's when I can first start looking for trades, but usually I'll look at the Nikkei first. Nikkei, I was wanted to take it down, but I had no setup. I needed to take a H4 or H8 fake out in order to take it down. It went without me. Thesis being we're in a breakout week, hasn't triggered the low. So this ends up becoming a weekly trend retracement type of setup. Um, yeah, so I was gonna be targeting the low. Earlier this week, I was taking longs because it had faked out the previous month low, and had broken out, had created a false breakout over here. This becomes a peak formation, uh, touches the previous month low and starts to move up. So when that happens, we're under the breakout level, touches a previous low, fake out retracement. So I would expect a bit of retracement going up before it collapses. So I can see here that we're in a fake out retracement cycle. Once it gets below here, we're going to be we're going to be breaking out to the downside. So I wanted to take it down, but I had no setup. Coming into the day, I always look at the 4 hour. My setup always requires either the 4 hour or the 8 hour to be triggered. In this case, both are in the same area. Did not trigger it and went without me. That's okay. That's how trading works. I don't chase any movement. I just take my setups and go. So did not get this, which led me to look at the forex pairs. So for forex, these are all the pairs I was looking at. Uh, Trend retracement setups today, looking for a high of the day sell down to the previous day low. Um, so one of the requirements is that the previous day low should not be triggered. So I can look at my indicator and I could see that uh, all of them have been lit up, but at the time, so this tells me that the daily previous day low has been touched and it's bearish now. It's below it. But at the time at 7 a.m., this wasn't triggered. A lot of them weren't triggered yet. So, but some of them were. Um, yeah. So, but they're all low, right? So 7 a.m. Price was all already pretty low. So I already had the idea that it would have touched the previous day low. Actually, let me replay. Okay. So this is what I was seeing at the market open. Let's see if this loads. Yeah. All right. So this is exactly what I was seeing at 7 a.m. on all the pairs. I saw that the weekly previous week low has been triggered on Aussie Swiss, right? So here's a previous week low has been triggered and it's now above. So I know that we're faked out on the previous week low. So Aussie Swiss was out for me. I don't want to counter trend a weekly move unless I get a fake out of the previous day high. And so the idea is that if the weekly is pushing up, the lower time frames will reverse first before the higher time frames. So I would want to see at least a daily level fake out before I try to counter this move. So Aussie Swiss was immediately out. 7 a.m. I could see that none of the other previous day lows have been triggered, but price was so low that I sort of had the idea that a lot of them would trigger immediately. Um, see, does this work? Oh yeah, okay, there you go. So the next 15 minutes, some of them got triggered, right? And so these were immediately out. So I know that once they're out of my watch list, I don't even bother to look at them anymore. So what was left was Aussie JPY, Aussie NZD, GJ. GJ is interesting. It hasn't triggered the previous day low right now. I sort of expected it to, but when that happens, I'm sort of I keep an eye on that. I would expect this to have been taken out. And NJ was still in, but yeah. So a lot of I'm able to reduce my watch list. Yeah, to just a few things, and in this case, the previous H8 high has been triggered on Aussie NZD. So this was the first one that I looked at because none of the other ones have been triggered. So I could see that it's been triggered because the top has been lit up, and none of the other ones are lit up on the H8 or H4. So this was the pair that I zoned in on. The other thing that I liked was the weekly breakout level. This in my indicator shows it white. The other ones are not white. The reason why is that if I look at the weekly, the last weekly breakout bar was right here. This is the last weekly bullish breakout bar, and we're now going underneath it. While the other pairs, the last weekly, we're still going with the direction of that of the last weekly bar. So why is that significant? The best trades are always going to. Let me remove some of this. No, it's okay. The best trades are always going to be, in my opinion, are always going to be at swing points. That's where I'm always looking for my trades. Um, so, what does a swing point? It always has um, a drive up towards a swing point and then a drive down. So there's no way for me to know exactly how long these drives up will take or how long, the drives down will take. But the way that I define a mechanical way that I define what a swing point is I look at the last breakout level, and I look at the level that it broke. In this case, it broke a previous day high. So in that case, I call this a breakout high. And so on my charts, it'll say weak breakout high. That's a yeah. So when that gets reversed in the opposite direction, that's when the bias changes for me. When the weak breakout high happens, traders are pushing up. When there's a breakout on the opposite side, that's when traders are now pushing down. And so all these yellow bars are when the swing points happen or when this breakout level gets reversed. And so these are usually at the peak of the charts at the time frame, and they create their own um, peak formations. So here's the last bullish breakout bar. Right, price went down. It fooled around a bit here, but once it does break, then it usually signals a strong move to the downside. So Aussie NZD was the only pair that had that. Um, this one right here. So that shows me that this is the closest to the weekly swing point, while these ones have already moved quite a bit from their swing points. So that's why I focused primarily on Aussie NZD. The other ones, I did have, like I've said before, a good thing about how I trade is I know exactly where my trade's going to be. Aussie Swiss, I know it's going to be here. Oh, I can't draw an alert on a replay, but I know that my trade is going to be here, and it's just unlikely that. Well, it might come up, but it wasn't there at the time, so that's why I zoned in on Aussie NGD. Not cherry picking any of these. You could see that this is exactly. I'm showing you the exact process how I reduced my watch list, and I focused just on Aussie NGD. And so I've always said about where am I here? How I trade. I always like to enter at the high of the day, and when I do that in Asia, 33.3% of the time, if I wait for the H8 fake out at the high of the day, it's going to be the high of the day 33.3% of the time. So I at least need to target 2R. If I have a win rate of this amount, to be break even, to be a break even trader, I need to be getting at least 2R. So we're at the high of the day. So once this happens, triggers a previous H8 high. First thing I do is I look at the M15 breakout level, and I want to enter below here. Now this is, if I take this, this is actually still good, I feel. Let me see. Does it get 2R? Yeah, so it does get 2R. But of course, I always want to get better RR than that. Uh, and this was the previous H low, so this was below 2R. Yeah, so uh, if the breakout level is too far from me, I do jump down to a lower time frame. In this case, I entered on the 1 minute, but So here was the M15 breakout level, and then at the time, the M5 breakout level is was here. So I was looking for um, a 1 minute bar that closed below these levels. And so what I did is I went down to the 1 minute. I looked for a M15 high fake out, which is right here. So it happened right at market open, M15 high fake out. And then I just simply waited until it got below the M5 level, which happened here. So once price closed below these levels, I entered and I took it straight down. Actually, let me double check. I thought I got higher than this. Let me get my replay going. Oh, okay, so the M5 breakout level was up here. Okay, no wonder. Yeah, so I got in at a much higher price than this, right? So I could see the M5 breakout level is right here. This was the M5. So I was looking to break that level because the M15 was too far. So coming down to the 1 minute, as soon as this closed below, I entered right at the high of the day. And again, if I get in at the high of the day, that's 33% of the time this is going to stay. And so I held it all the way down and I took partials when it started to get stuck at the previous H8 low. Once this reversed, I didn't want to risk all the profit that I made, all this profit, just to make a little bit more. So I took partials on this. The reason why I took partials is because the weekly it hasn't closed yet, so this is not confirmed. But if it does close like this is a good position to kind of hold. Um, and But I'll definitely close before the weekend. I would definitely expect next week, if it closes like this, I would expect next week to push up and give me an entry at the high of the day somewhere in the middle of the week. Um, yeah, so that was my trade, Aussie NZD. I look at the fake outs, previous H8 high fake out here, because that's the first sign of a reversal. Um, when the fake out, when the higher time frame fakes out the previous high, uh, that's when you know you're at the peak. Um, Yeah, and then I go in the direction of the breakout level. So I think the M15 breakout level for the H8 was all the way up here. So I know that the H8 traders are pushing down and is still forming its peak. And yeah, so that was it. That was my trade. That's the only trade I took. All these other pairs were all invalid. GJ invalid now. Already broke the daily low. So all these setups not available anymore. Aussie Swiss still alive. All these are gone. Aussie NZD still making its way. NZD Swiss has not triggered anything, so this one is still alive. Something I might look at in Europe if it doesn't trigger. Uh, JP, yeah, it sucks. I didn't get a setup on this, but went where I wanted it to go. Gold, no setup, broke out. NZD Swiss was discretionary. Um, yeah, no setup on that. So yeah, that's it. That's how I trade London. 1 minute left. It's a long one. That's it.